Tucker Carlson gets asked by Joe Rogan, or no, they're having a conversation about Japan and the atomic bomb and all that good stuff. And this has actually been a lot of topic of conversation lately. I don't know why it's been such a popular topic of conversation. But conservatives have come out, of course, and like, yeah, man, we had to do it. You're a pussy if you didn't agree with it. Like, and Tucker Carlson, once again, probably surprised a lot of people, had a different take. And he actually called out his own people on this. Take a listen.
Well, you could say the same about the atomic bomb, right?
Yes, you could.
And you could say that we have to develop it like Oppenheimer felt before the Nazis did.
I love that. How'd that work? How'd that work?
Well,
I love, by the way, that people on my side, I'll just admit it, on the right, have spent the last 80 years defending dropping nuclear weapons on civilians. Like, are you joking?
Right.
That's just like prima facie evil.
Yeah.
If you can't, well, if we hadn't done that, then this, that, the other thing, that was actually a great savings. Like, no, it's wrong to drop nuclear weapons on people. And if you find yourself arguing that it's a good thing to drop nuclear weapons on people, then you are evil. Like, it's not a tough one, right? It's not a hard call for you. It's not a hard call for me. So with that in mind, like, why would you want nuclear weapons? It's like just a mindless, childish sort of intellectual exercise to justify, like, oh no, it's really good because someone else will get it. How about no? How about like spending all of your effort to prevent this from happening? Would you
see? I feel like Tucker Carlson has become a classical conservative. Like, even though we don't agree on everything, I feel like he's become more of he's like he's the conservative that Patrick Bet-David thinks he is. He's a libertarian, rather, sometimes, that Patrick Bet-David thinks he is. Because he's willing to challenge the narrative, the dominant neoconservative narrative. And even when he gets it wrong, even on foreign policy right now, he's batting about 3.7 out of 5. I'll take it. It's better than what most people give me with that level of popularity. I'll take that all day. That is a take. See?
Kill baby Hitler?
And the fact that what do they usually when it is their side, what they'll say is, some people say, he was like, nah, bro, it's my side. It's my side that's doing this. Boy, look.
Famously.
Right. Say that we have to develop the Nazis did.
I love that. How'd that work? How'd that work?
Well,
I love, by the way, that people on my side, I'll just admit it, on the right, have spent the last 80 years defending dropping nuclear weapons on civilians. Like, are you joking?
Right.
That's just like prima facie evil.
Yeah.
If you can't, well, if we hadn't done that, then this, that, the other thing, that was actually a great savings. Like, no, it's wrong to drop nuclear weapons on people. And if you find yourself arguing that it's a good thing to drop nuclear weapons on people, then you are evil. Like, it's not a tough one, right? It's not a hard call for you. It's not a hard call for me. So with that in mind, like, why would you want nuclear weapons? It's like just a mindless, childish sort of intellectual exercise to justify, like, oh no, it's really good because someone else will get it. How about no? How about like spending all of your effort to prevent this from happening? Would you kill baby Hitler? Famously.
Right.
So I don't know why we're sitting back and allowing this to happen if we really believe it will extinguish the human race or enslave the human race. Like,
so this lie, I don't know why people keep telling it, like, oh man, we would have saved so many lives. That is a lie that was told to justify dropping the atomic bomb. Japan had effectively already been defeated. Strategically, Germany had, we were on the way to victory. This is well known at this point. If you don't believe that the atomic bomb had nothing to do with World War II, it had everything to do with what was coming next, which is the United States wanted to dominate and didn't want anyone to feel that they could stand up to them. And they basically, whenever someone throws a temper tantrum, like what these crazy kids do, they like beat their head up against the wall, show how crazy they are. That's basically what the atomic bomb is. That's basically what the atomic bomb is. And we did it twice. Okay? There was no reason for us to drop it other than to achieve the goal. And y'all also have to remember too, because we can't look at international politics and the actions of the U.S. in a vacuum, especially when we have the benefit of hindsight and history. We got to remember who authorized the atomic bomb. We got to remember who, like, this was Truman, an idiot, who was a puppet of the Dulles brothers. Okay? The man dropped atomic bombs because they said, hey, man, you don't want people to think you're weak. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's drop 2 atomic bombs on civilians. Okay. Right after that, he effectively initiates the Cold War by disregarding the agreement that had been reached between FDR and Stalin at the Yalta Conference. Okay. That's strike number 2. Well, really 3, if you're counting 2 atomic bombs, probably 3. Then the man creates the CIA, right? Yeah, people forget about that. That's CIA. Then also we don't get Henry Wallace because they wanted to uplift Truman. That's a whole different thing. With Henry Wallace, we don't get atomic bombs. Truman, we got 2 atomic bombs, CIA, and the Cold War, which then of course led to millions of more deaths. Or hundreds of thousands of deaths, rather. So it like you are pushing propaganda to justify the deaths of, like, once again, I do the color test. I got to do my little color spectrum test. Could you ever see? So if the US decided to drop a nuke on Germany, why didn't they drop a nuke on Germany? Why didn't they drop a nuke on Germany? They started the war. The part of the reason why Japan felt so bold was because of what? Because of Germany. Why didn't you drop a nuke on Germany? Even when we were at war, Cold War with Russia, we didn't really attack them directly. Why is that? Why didn't we go? So we were doing crazy stuff. Cambodia, Laos. Y'all remember? Like, y'all know all the different places that we've done crazy shit. Like, why haven't we done anything egregious in these white dominated countries that we have all this beef with? Because they see them as differently. Like, even when we hate you, yeah, we hate y'all, but it's a different type of hate. It's a different type of hate. It's a strategic hate. It ain't like a we believe that you are lesser type of hate. Like, they believe that the Japanese were lesser. We know how that goes. They believe that those who they massacred in Cambodia and Laos were lesser. They believe that the Africans that they've genocided and allowed the genocide of in multiple countries are lesser. Those in Afghanistan and Iraq are lesser. They believe that. They believe that Africa as a continent is lesser. They assassinated the former chairman of the African Union in Muammar Gaddafi. Do y'all understand how insane that is? Could you imagine, once again, which is why we got the color spectrum test, could you imagine the United States, or any country for that matter, saying, yo, man, we got to assassinate the chair of the European Union? What? Hell, you can't do that. Why? Because that's insane. I shouldn't even have to say it. Why do you have to not say how insane it is for everybody to still acknowledge how insane that is? Because that's rules-based order. And the rules say, if you look like this on this side, you look like this, then your life has more value. If you look like this on the other side, then sorry for you. It's the sad truth. And the only way that we're going to be able to start having conversations like about why things are really allowed to take place is if we have people like Tucker who are willing to say, yep, that's my side. We got to take ownership for that. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all for thinking that this is okay? Why are you justifying? How can you be anti-government and defend atrocious actions committed by the government? It's the most confusing, frustrating thing. You can't be. That's why I always say, people say, oh, leftists are big pro-government. Nope, not me. I'm a leftist, and I am. If I was a communist, I wouldn't be the kind of communist that a lot of these people like probably associate with. I'm a Fred Hampton kind of guy. I'm a like fuck the government type of communist. I'm a like we don't need the government. Like, you know, there's like the people who want to put the means of production in the hands of the government, then put the government in the hands of the people and stay on. Like, nah, I'm not. I'm like Black Panthers. They're like, bro, we don't need them for shit. We can grow our own stuff. We can teach ourselves how to shoot. We can educate our own youth. We can create our own community. That is the type of guy I am. I guess technically that would be anarcho-communism. I don't know, but whatever. I don't care. I like that better. I really don't want to rely on the government for shit. I don't want the people. I want the government to be nothing but like a facility I want them to do nothing but facilitate but even that needs to be streamlined. I don't want them to do anything but facilitate. That's the only thing. Because even if you don't have a big government doing it, you're going to have a little government do it. Like, so that makes it like, whatever, cool, facilitate. But I believe that militaries should be state. Like, that's how it used to be. That's how the militias used to be. State to state, city to city. And then you join together. That's what the National Guard used to be. It weren't National Guard. They were militias. They were state-ran militias. And whenever the country needed them, they would join together. Like, that's what I believe. But you got these conservatives who swear to God, oh, the government does everything wrong. What about these wars that they're starting? Well, no, that's different. We got to go to war. Why? Because the government said so. Well, I thought you hated the government. But that's not what I meant. What did you mean? I meant I don't want just say what you want to say. You're mad that the government is taxing you. Like, just leave it at that and we can all agree. But don't say you're anti-government, because you're not. You're not anti-government. When you push narratives like we had to drop the atomic bomb, we had to balkanize Russia, we had to go to war with Korea, we had to go to war with Afghanistan, we had to send Saddam to go to war with Iran, we had to overthrow Mossadegh, we had to. Why? Because of communism, because of radical Islam. They give you whatever excuse they give you, and then y'all turn around and repeat it, and then in the same goddamn breath will be like, yeah, but I hate the government. Which one is it? Which one is it? Because when I say I don't like the government, I mean that shit. When I know the majority of my audience says they hate the government, they mean that. If my government has to take from someone else in order for me to benefit, that is unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable. And I will always challenge them on that. If my government has to take, I see all these governments around the world who are actually working for their people, despite the fact that the U.S. is crippling them in every way they can. And I still see governments around the world doing their damnedest with the resources that they have to just give to their own people without taking from others. In Brazil, as corrupt as things can be at times, the people at least have enough power to make sure they have basic healthcare. They have free healthcare, and their healthcare is pretty damn good. If I'm not, bro, and to be completely honest with you, their medicine, their over-the-counter medicine is way better than the U.S. They have daycare systems. Like, it's not perfect. They're still trying to make them better, because they have they just have the responsibility of trying to put so many people who are suffering financially in these. I don't know how they're daycares, but they're more than daycares. You know what I'm trying to say. But basically, it's free. The doctors here still make a pretty damn good wage, and a lot of them work at free places, but they have the option to work also in private care. But the options it isn't like private care like with the US, where if the private system had a chokehold on the public system, it would just become private again. Right? It's like, if you want to get private, you can pay a reasonable price for a healthcare plan. And it actually covers what it says it's going to cover. Like, if it says it covers surgery, it ain't like you got to pay $5,000 before the damn surgery actually is covered. Because that's what happens in the US when you buy a healthcare plan that they force on you. Right? And you have countries like Brazil and others that are not taking from other countries in order to give their people the basic necessities so that they can live with some dignity. Right? So why is it that the United States that has agriculture, okay, they have diversity of economy, they have diversity of people, ideas, businesses, they have the space to expand, they have the experience, they have the allyship, the network, they have all of that, and yet and still they have to take and take and take, and people don't even have the things that they need. That government allows all that shit to happen to its own people. And I'm supposed to then turn around, like Tucker said, like other people say, I'm supposed to then turn around and say, yeah, man, our government is definitely just in the fucked up shit that they've done. Excuse my language. No, I can't.